Hello my dear students. With lots of excitement, I have created this course for NEET named Sureshot NEET. Okay, here we will be starting our classes from today and I'm going to teach you chemistry. So we will be starting today with our chemistry and first we will be starting with physical chemistry. So first let me tell you what is chemistry. Before you start any subject, you must know what is that, right? So what does chemistry mean? So chemistry means, it comes from the word chem and chemistry. Chemistry, right? So chemistry is the scientific study of properties and behavior of matter, okay? You can tell that is the definition of chemistry. It is a scientific study for the properties and behavior of matter, okay? Or you can call it the study of matter, analyzing its structure, okay? Or analyzing the structure of the matter, properties and the behavior to see what happens when they change in a chemical reaction. So when a matter changes in a chemical reaction, so for example, you have hydrogen and oxygen, they change and they become water, that is H2O, right? So how the change is happening? You're analyzing the structure, the properties and behavior to see what kind of change is going to happen. Okay, now in chemistry, so chemistry means from chemicals and study, right? So study of chemicals, you can tell is chemistry. Next, you have in chemistry, there are different branches. You have different parts which you will be studying. So what all you will be learning? You have chemistry divided into three parts, that is physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry and your organic chemistry. Physical chemistry is nothing but it's like physics. You're going to study the basics, how things are going to work. So physical chemistry is macroscopic, the bigger part of this chemistry which you can see through your eyes, and microscopic phenomena in chemical systems in terms of the principles, practices, concepts, physics such as motion, energy, force, time, thermodynamics, all that comes in physical chemistry, okay? So physical chemistry is like a macroscopic and microscopic phenomena in chemical systems in terms of principles, how the things are working, all that you will be learning. It's basically conceptual physical chemistry. Then next, you have something called as inorganic chemistry. What is inorganic chemistry? Inorganic chemistry is a study of synthesis, reaction, structure and properties of compounds or of the elements. So different elements, you will be studying their reaction, synthesis, structure and properties. So when you study for all the elements, all these things, they are called inorganic chemistry. Whereas the same thing you will be studying for carbon. Only for carbon, when you study all these things, it is called organic chemistry, okay? So that is inorganic and organic chemistry, because carbon is a very special compound which forms lot of living systems in living things. So that's why we have separated it into organic chemistry, whereas inorganic chemistry is for non-living things generally. So that is why it is called inorganic chemistry. So now, whenever I teach any of my students, before I start teaching the subject in detail, you have to know some basic things are present in every subject, okay? So whenever you start something, like when you started learning talking, whenever you started to learn to speak, what is the first thing you learned? You learned alphabets, right? You have to learn A, B, C, D, all the alphabets. You learn them. Without that, could you be able to talk today? Without that, will you be able to write English? No, right? The same way we are going to learn chemistry now. So when you learn chemistry, the most important thing that you should know, the ABCDs of chemistry, is periodic table. Unless you know the periodic table, there is no point of going to the further classes and learning something further. So that is the reason why the first class I have dedicated to periodic table. Now, in the periodic table, you need to know all the elements of the periodic table. You need to know their groups. You need to know all the which period an element belongs, which group an element belongs. You need to know their atomic number, their mass number, all that. So I will be telling you all of those. We will start with the periodic table. So in the periodic table, you need to know all the elements in group wise, okay? The first group. So the columns are called the group, okay? So I will be teaching you group wise, because even I have memorized the periodic table group wise. So when you go to the examination, immediately when you enter into the examination, the first thing you need to do when you go to exam is draw a small periodic table somewhere. You can draw in your NEET exam. As soon as you get the paper, immediately write down a periodic table. As soon as they tell you to start, first you write down the periodic table. That will save lots of your time. You won't have to think anything. You can directly solve the questions by looking at the periodic table. Lot of questions from inorganic chemistry especially. So that's why you need to know the periodic table, okay? So just memorize the entire periodic table. You can make your own mnemonics. You can make your own shortcuts. All those you can do it. Okay? So in the first group, we will be starting with, in first group we have the S block element. First and second group of the periodic table is called the S block element. S block elements contain hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, helium, francium. That is the first group. This is called the first group. Next you have beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium. Okay, this is the second group. Watch these groups together, make the S block. Okay, so the first group is hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, helium, francium. Second group is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium. Then this is called S block. Okay, next you have the D block. After S comes the P block actually, but in between the S and P block in the periodic table you have the D block. Okay, so the D block contains the transition metals. Okay, so whatever I told you first, except the hydrogen, everything were metal, right? You can see lithium is a metal, sodium is a metal, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium, all these are metals except for the hydrogen. Okay, so all the S block elements are metal except hydrogen, and those are the two groups that I told you. You need to learn them. Next, you have scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium, titanium, zirconium, osmium, vanadium, niobium, tantalum, chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, manganese, technetium, rhenium, iron, ruthenium, osmium, cobalt, rhodium, iridium, nickel, palladium, platinum, copper, silver, gold. So silver is Ag, argentum. Okay, it is also called argentum. It is believed that there were mountains of silver in Argentina, so that's why we gave the name from Argentina, argentum. Okay, and aurum is gold. So gold has different kind of aura kind of thing, right? So you can remember it that way. So gold is very expensive. It has very good aura. Aura means like a vibe. So Au stands for aurum, gold. Zinc, cadmium, mercury. Hg is mercury. Okay. So whichever elements I told you about silver and gold, they have different name. Ag is written for silver instead of SIL or something instead of S. So Ag and Au are different spelling, right? It's not gold and silver. It's called something else. Ag and Au. Like that, you need to tell me for all the elements whichever have different name in the periodic table. You need to tell me the real name. Okay, like tungsten, I told you is W. Tungsten, I have written W. But what does W mean? You need to find out and you need to comment, all of you. I don't want to tell by myself because I want all of you to search and write it. And once when you write it, it'll stick into your head. So that's why. All these are called transition metals. Okay. This D block, the entire block is called a transition metal. Scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium, titanium, zirconium, osmium, vanadium, niobium, tantalum, chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, manganese, technetium, rhenium, iron, ruthenium, osmium, cobalt, rhodium, iridium, nickel, palladium, platinum, copper, silver, gold, zinc, cadmium, mercury. All these are transition metals. Okay, they are also like metals. They are transition metals. Whereas the first group was the metals, S block. Okay, except for hydrogen. Next you have P block. In P block you have now the boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead, nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. All these, whatever I have told you, you need to remember. Lanthanides and actinides. I told you, lanthanum, actinum. That is full, entire lanthanides and actinides group. So that is called F block. Okay, lanthanides and actinides are F block. You don't have to remember them so strongly, all the elements. But you need to know whatever I told you until now, those you need to remember. And here, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, what I told you, these are called noble gases. The 18th group it is. Okay, so first group is hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. The second group is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium. Third group is scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium, titanium, zirconium, osmium is fourth. Fifth group is vanadium, niobium, tantalum. Sixth group is chromium, molybdenum, tungsten. Seventh group is manganese, technetium, rhenium. Eighth group is iron, ruthenium, osmium. Next group is ninth, cobalt, rhodium, iridium. 10th group is nickel, palladium, platinum. 11th is copper, silver, gold. 12th is zinc, cadmium, mercury. And next 13th group is boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead, nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. 17th group. 18th is helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. Okay, so this is how the periodic table is made. Here, I told you the first S block is all metals. Middle D block is the transition metals. The last one which I have written according to periodic table, P block, except for helium. So that all those entire things are the P block. In P block you have the metalloids. Okay, in that you have some are metalloids. So I can show you this group. What I'm showing you, some elements near the staircase are sometimes called metalloids. I have drawn like a stairs, right? So near that, all those are metalloids. Okay, So this entire thing you need to remember. So first thing that you learn in chemistry is the periodic table, and I want all of you to memorize the entire periodic table. You can make your own mnemonics. Like for first group, you can remember Helena ki Rab se faryad. It's a Hindi word. Helena ki Rab means God, right? Say faryad. Say means from God. She's requesting something. Faryad. So Helena ki Rab se faryad. And second group you can remember as Beta mange car scooter baap razi, like that. You can remember different shortcuts, and you can make different shortcuts and you can remember it. Okay, so like for example 13th group, you can remember Bal Gaye Indian Tail, like that. From Indian Tail, using that Bal Gaye, Bal BAL means boron aluminum, like that. So you need to make like that shortcuts. Like Kasi Gaye Sant Prabhu is the 14th group. Okay, you can make your own mnemonics, but try to remember the entire periodic table like that. Now, in the periodic table, if you talk about each element, okay, for example, how do you represent every element? You write the name of the element, and below that, this is also very important. You need to know all the elements, atomic number, which is not difficult. Like first comes hydrogen, next comes helium, right? According to the periodic table, if you go period wise, if you go left to right, if you start counting all the elements, that is their atomic number. First one, atomic number 1 is hydrogen, atomic number 2 is helium, 3 is lithium, 4 is barium, 5 is boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. At least 30 you need to remember, okay? Remember at least 30 atomic numbers of all the elements. And others, when you do questions, whatever is very important was, you will get to remember them, okay? But the periodic table, all of you have to remember. And then you don't have to remember the atomic number because you can count for all of them. So this is the atomic numbers. This thing is called the atomic number. Then you have something called as mass number. Atomic number means every atom. So hydrogen, lithium, all these elements, okay, they are nothing but atoms, right? Atom of hydrogen, atom of helium. All the elements that you learn in periodic table, they are all atoms. Inside an atom, you have protons and neutrons. There are two things in the middle of the atom. In the center of the atom, if you see, there is a nucleus, okay? Inside the nucleus, you have protons and neutrons. Neutrons are there to hold the protons because you know, protons are all positively charged. Positive charges always repel each other. So how can you join all the positive charges together? It's very difficult, right? To keep all the positive charges who hate. So there are so many friends in a classroom. All the friends. There are so many enemies, for example, in a classroom, not friends. There are 4 friends. There are 4 people. Those 4 people are enemies. You hate each other. So can I keep all of you in one room? And will you all keep quiet there? You will not like to stay with each other, right? Because you are all enemy. So what should I do to keep all the enemies together in a place safely? So if I want to pack all of them together, I can introduce some intermediate people like teachers. I can put the teachers inside the room so that teachers will control all the 4 people and make all the 4 enemies also to sit together on a bench. Right? Otherwise, the enemies will not sit together on a bench. If you dislike somebody, 4 people dislike each other, they will not sit on a bench unless the teacher comes near the table and tells you to sit. Or what I can do, I can make a friend who is the friend of all the 4 people to sit between them. So like that, the neutrons do the work. Neutrons, why the neutrons are required in an atom? Because to keep all the positive charges, it's very difficult to hold all the positive charges together. So neutrons act as buffer in between them. Then outside that you have electrons. Number of electrons and protons are same. Okay, that you need to know in a neutral atom, because positive charge is proton, negative charge is electron. So positive and negative charge has to be equal, right? Then only the atom will be neutral. So positive and negative charges, the protons and electrons will be equal. So I don't have to write number of electrons anywhere, right? In any question, I don't have to separately in the periodic table, there is no place where I have written electrons number, because the atomic number means proton number. Why not electron number? Why don't I call the atomic number as the electron number? Why the proton number? Because the proton is in the middle and it's very difficult to remove the proton. Electron, I can remove it and I can change the element electrons easily compared to the proton. But the proton number will be fixed, okay? In case of neutral element, the proton and electrons will be the same. Then you have the neutron. Okay, so neutrons are the neutral particles which are present in the nucleus. And all these together, the protons and neutrons together, are called the nucleons. Okay, because they are present in the nucleus, right? Proton is also present in the nucleus and the neutrons are also present in the nucleus. But electrons are present outside. So electrons are not the nucleons. Protons and neutrons are the nucleon. So number of protons is called the atomic number. and number of protons and neutrons together, which is the nucleons. Number of nucleons are called the mass number. Okay, so number of nucleons is the mass number. Like that, every element has a mass number which is mentioned in the periodic table. Now, how will you find the number of neutrons then? You know the number of protons, atomic number. You know the total number of protons and neutrons, which is the mass number. So if you want to find the neutron, you can subtract it, right? You can subtract the atomic number from the mass number, you will get only the neutrons. So this is how the periodic table is made. In the periodic table, every element is represented by its atomic number. Every atomic number corresponds to one element. Okay, so 21 means scandium only. Whenever there is an atomic number 21, it means scandium. No other element can have 21 as the atomic number. So all have one atomic number, which is number of protons, because number of protons decide what element it is going to be. Then mass number. Hydrogen has a mass of 1. Helium has a mass of, so hydrogen has a mass of 1 means what? It means it will not have any neutron, right? Because its atomic number was 1, that is 1 proton. Mass number is also 1, which means it doesn't have any neutron, it has only 1 proton. Whereas helium is 4. So helium is 4, its atomic number is 2, whereas its mass number is 4. So atomic number is number of proton, which is 2, but mass is 4. So the extra 2 are what? Extra 2 are neutrons, okay? So helium has 2 protons and 2 neutrons. And a neutral atom of helium with no charge will be having 2 electrons also. Okay, then lithium. Lithium is 3. So lithium means atomic number of lithium is how much? It's 3. And mass number of lithium is 7. Okay, so mass number of lithium is 7, which is number of protons in lithium is 3 and number of neutrons will be 4. Only then it becomes 7, right? So mass number of lithium is 7. So hope it is clear now, periodic table to all of you. Now, one more most important thing. When you look at the periodic table, you don't see 7 there, right? You don't see 7 near the lithium, the mass number. I have put the periodic table here. You can see it. So you don't see the mass number of lithium as 7. You see the mass number of lithium is 7, but atomic mass of lithium is not 7. It's 6.941. Why is it like that? Because lithium has isotopes. Okay, so there is something called isotope. Every atom has different mass number, atomic mass, 2-3 different types of elements. The same element will have 2-3 different types of it. Okay, they are called isotopes. They will have the same atomic number. That means the element is same. Atomic number is same means the element is same. There are hydrogen. Hydrogen has deuterium. Hydrogen has tritium. Okay, hydrogen has deuterium, tritium, and the normal hydrogen. Okay, so protium. So all these different types of hydrogen you have, all these together, they are present. So one is having 2 neutrons, one is having 1 neutron, like the different variations will be there for hydrogen. But the highest available is without any neutron, that is the basic hydrogen. You have but with 1 neutron, 2 neutron, all those. So in those situations, you see the abundance, which is present more in what percentage? Okay, for example, lithium is 6.941, the atomic mass. It's because there are many isotopes of lithium. Then we see which isotope is present in more percentage. Because 6 is present in more percentage, we give 6 more. We multiply the percentage with 6. Like for example, the percentage of 6% abundance, it is called, how much it is present. If it is 70%, we will multiply 6 into 70 plus 7. For example, atomic mass 7, lithium is present in 10% quantity. So atomic mass 7 into 10%. Like that, we multiply each atomic mass into its percentage abundance and we divide by 100. Then you got this average atomic, the mass which I have written below. So that mass you will get, average atomic mass. It's because we consider the isotopes. Otherwise, the atomic mass is a whole number. Atomic mass number will be a whole number. But in the periodic table, the atomic mass that we have given, that is not a whole number because that is average atomic mass of all the different isotopes for every atom, for every element. Okay, so that's how we get that number. So hope by now the entire periodic table is clear to all of you. You need to memorize the entire periodic table. And remember, lanthanide's atomic number is from 57 to 71. The elements 51, 57 to 71 are lanthanides. So when you write hafnium has to start from 72. Remember this, okay? And 89 to 103 is actinides, okay? So this is the entire periodic table. I want all of you to memorize this periodic table and then come tomorrow and watch my next video, okay? So try to memorize the entire periodic table today. You don't have to do any questions. As I told you, daily we will be practicing questions. But today there is no questions for you in chemistry. You have to do the periodic table. Spend lots of time, your entire day, entire time what you have until the next video, which is going to come tomorrow. The whole time is yours to practice the periodic table. Learn the periodic table, learn the concepts of periodic table, which is the groups are columns, and which is the periods, the rows are the periods. All those you need to learn. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you very much, and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to watch the entire series, Sureshot NEET. Okay, let's crack NEET together. Thank you.